Everybody, welcome back to my Daily Dose with Tim. Today is season 2, episode 21. First of all, to all my Canadians, I wish you a very happy Thanksgiving. This year has been a very interesting year for a lot of us, and regardless of what's happening out there in the world, I'm sure that if we look hard enough, even just on a daily basis, there is so much that we can still be thankful for, especially the fact that if you're able to be watching this video still, either on your computer, on your phone, on your tablet, on whatever devices that you got, you have something to be grateful for and to be thankful for. And I'm so happy to be back here to really wrap this part up, because over the weekend, even though I know it's a long weekend for a lot of us, especially right here in Canada, I'm getting a lot of feedback on this whole concept about the inverse relationship of cash flow and ROI. And a lot of you guys are wrapping your head around this entire concept, and you're going, hang on a second. If we actually just look at the formula itself in terms of how return on investment is actually calculated, and also, well, we call it cash on cash, especially when we're hanging onto the property, as you guys already know. Technically speaking, if return is going up, okay, then, and that's constant, shouldn't that be going up as well? Well, you know what? Mathematically speaking, you're absolutely right. And this is why, if you actually go back and watch part 2 of this video, I did mention that I like to throw a lot of curveballs at you. And the other thing about all of this is that this is financial education. I want to be here to actually stimulate how you analyze and how you think. Because one of the best tools that you will ever have is not always take everything that is said to you on face value. You have to start to develop a sense and a sensitivity in terms of the information that is presented to you. And that only happens when you can develop that critical thinking ability. And that comes through education, that comes through knowledge, that comes through having somebody else hold your hand and guide you through that thought process if you don't have that already. So I'm just going to put something out there, because this is one of the questions that I often get, especially when I was still traveling quite a bit teaching financial education around the world, is that people from, for example, Sydney, Australia, people from LA, people from Seattle, Chicago, New York City, Toronto, Vancouver, right here, Singapore, Hong Kong, they're always like, oh my God, yes, the concept of cash flow, having a monthly return sounds so good. However, it just doesn't work in my market. I cannot get anything to cash flow. And herein lies why this entire discussion was actually generated. I know I kind of saved the best for last, because that is the aha moment I'm hoping that a lot of you guys are getting right now. Because first thing first, remember, we said the first priority is cash flow. In order for you to generate cash flow, well, let's take a look at this formula. How is return made? As we already know, it is revenue minus our expenses, okay? And so you gotta remember, especially when it comes to properties, from a revenue perspective, it all depends on the number of units that are generating revenue or rental income in this particular case. Do you also have any other sources of income? Okay, and let me write this down first. And then when it comes to expenses, I'm not sure if you guys can see that. I'm hoping you can see that. I mean, if you're following along, all I wrote down was other sources of income, okay? And then when it comes to expenses, well, first thing first, we already know that we always looked at petty payment, and that was to omit a lot of things right now. Obviously, property management, repair and maintenance is one of them. Vacancy is one of them. And other maintenance works like snow removal, if you live in a country like I do, and lawn maintenance, and maybe on-site caregiver, maybe legal and accounting, because every single property needs to stand up on its own like a viable business. And that means there's a lot of peripheral fees that we need to budget into that, okay? So most people just go as far as repair and maintenance and do a percentage. To me, that is not enough. And again, you can call me paranoid or you can go call me overprotective. I'm just being that Asian parent for you, okay? I am overprotective when it comes to running numbers. That's just a joke, okay? So expenses wise, there's a lot of different factors. So in that, it really determines the return. And so again, yes, mathematically speaking, that is absolutely true. However, again, if this is fixed, this is the biggest thing. Remember, we always say S&P, okay? Let's forget about this for a second. This is really the two factors that I want to address. It's the fact that you can see that inverse relationship a lot of the times when the market conditions are simply not conducive. Remember last week at one point when we were running the numbers, there were negative cash flows. When you have negative cash flows, where is the return on investment? Okay, when you have negative cash flows, where's the return on investment? However, what if I told you, because this is my standard answer, when people tell me, oh my God, the whole cash flow formula just does not work in the market that I live in. Okay, first of all, remember your why translates into your financial goals. Let your financial goals determine the strategy or strategies that you need to do. And then once you actually identify the strategies, then you pick the market. So many people, they just think that they have to start in their own backyard, and that is not the case. It doesn't have to work that way. And that is what this whole three-part series actually is about. It's the fact that my standard answer for those of you, let's say if you're in Toronto, especially Toronto, for example, actually not especially in Toronto, however, especially in Toronto, if you bought something cash, it's going to create a good return because your expenses are going to be very low because right off the bat, you're actually not taking on a mortgage payment. You're not having to debt service. And at the same time though, when you do something like that, that just means that your investment is so high. So what that means, typically speaking, is that your return on investment tends to be a lot lower, or your cash on cash return tends to be a lot lower because you got to be in on it by so much. And this is actually the main factor we need to actually look at. And obviously, again, just because these two things are tied together, the property side really dictates the performance as well. Because obviously, a property that is either brand new or newly renovated probably would have a lot less repairs and maintenance that we need to worry about, first of all. And vice versa, on the flip side of all of that, if a property is a lot older and we're just taking it over, there might be a lot more fees that we need to either budget into. Okay, either for renovations up front, and a lot of the times really that would actually incur during the acquisition process, as we've already covered during the BRRRR module as well as the flip module right before we got into all of this. And so I wanted to really go into this entire portion really just to make sure that all of you guys truly understand that. So if you actually did your homework, congratulations. You were probably scratching your head and going, what the heck is he talking about? And that's exactly the point, okay? Stop sticking to a market that does not potentially serve you and let the formula do its work. And if you're frustrated, especially if you started to go out there, because I know some of you guys messaged me behind the scenes here, you started to go out there and start to look at listing prices on properties as well as doing your due diligence on fair market rents and the potential expenses that could go in there, and you're like, you come in, you're ready for a fight, you're ready for an argument and going, Tim, what the heck are you talking about? I'm hoping that this is answering your questions now, okay? Because again, yes, mathematically speaking, when that goes up and that's fixed, that should go up. So that's not an inverse relationship. However, what we're really discussing are these two factors. You gotta remember the market and the property performances are the two main key factors once you've decided the strategies that you want to focus on, okay? So that is actually, I did that for you guys because I some of you texted me over time, and I keep forgetting about this because every beginning of every episode, I usually tell you this is part one, part two, and sometimes I even cross out the previous episode number just to signify the fact that we've been on the same topic for a few times now. However, this was actually your suggestion as well. So today is part three, and I just really want to wrap that entire concept up. So I'm hoping that this has now been very clear to you and encourages you, most importantly, that it encourages you to start to really branch out into the other markets that you might want to look into if you have a particular strategy in mind, because once again, that's already fixed. We've been using income properties as our main demonstrator, okay? So that is that, and just because it is Thanksgiving Monday, I'm gonna keep today's really, really short and sweet. And also, a lot of you guys, if you're on my page, you also notice the fact that I've been doing a 25-day push-up challenge. So thanks to you, Kurt. A lot of you guys didn't know this about me. However, I do share this. I'm very open about my journey. Back in 2011, I had my third, knock on wood, and last minor heart attack in the summertime. And right after that, even though physically speaking, it wasn't all that traumatic to my body, it hit my mind really, really hard. And I went into a straight major depression. And so to have been nominated to do the 25-day push-up challenge, it is a challenge. And if you're watching the video, you know I'm breathing pretty hard. So hopefully by the end of the 25 days, I'll be a lot fitter to do that as well. However, very, very happy and very honored and blessed to have had the chance to maybe allow other people to really understand that mental health is just as important as your physical wellness as well. And if you've never gone through that, if you don't have anybody else that have gone through that, or that you know somebody is going through that and you don't know how to deal with it, you know what? I am happy to be there for your support, honestly, because I sometimes joke that 3 heart attacks and a heart surgery and 5 autoimmune disorders did not take me. Being depressed almost made me take my own life. And that was when I realized that really our mind is truly a miraculous thing, the way it works. And this is why a lot of you guys are also seeing that I do post quotes sometimes it's people that I really admire and look up to, and really just old school wisdom. And there have been times where I come up with my own as well, because I really do believe that everything also starts right here. And this is why education is so important. And the thing is, I really equate education these days with growth. Just growing and learning every single day is just going to start to make your life infinitely better. So that's what I'm going to leave all of you with today. Happy to have a chat, whatever it may be. Could be about this concept, could be about any videos that I've made, it could be about what you might be going through, because that's honestly, when I first started making my daily dose with Tim, I almost named it Everyday Heroes, because what I truly want to convey during my daily dose is to let people know that as long as you're inching forward every day, you're pushing forward, you're growing every day, because every single day presents a new challenge for a lot of us, if not for all of us. As long as we're making progress every day, we're going to come out of it just all right. And just like my mentor, Pip Stelic, always says, you're going to be all right. I can't do his accent, so you know what? You're just going to have to hear him say it one of these days again. Well, with that said, thank you so much again for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you back here tomorrow. Remember, the rest of the week and maybe going into next week, what I'm going to start doing is to do what I call 5 ways that you can become financially free, financially independent, financially secured in 5 years or less. So that starts tomorrow. I will see you back here. Have a great evening, everybody, and live well.